cool. Now let's get to work. Let's get to work. Hey, market itself is gapping up. Now it's kind of weird because, you know, the money was on the short side yesterday, even though the market was pretty strong. And like even today, like the market's up 0.7%, give or take. So it looks like we're about to hit ATH. It doesn't feel like individual stocks are necessarily following along, at least on the spec side. But we're getting a more of a, I guess, a large cap kind of run. You know, so that'll be something to kind of keep an eye on. Yesterday, like if you notice, you know, most of the action was all on the short side yesterday. You know, at least in the morning. You know, like you had all these kind of green, you know, green to red type of plays. You know, we had Snow and Nikola and all these short at the open. There was all the money was on the short side, and then later on we saw a handful of squeezes. So that's something I think we're going to have to monitor today. Is, you know, how is the individual price action of stocks moving in relation to the market indexes? Now you are seeing like a handful of things. You know, the SPY is still sitting on the 20 SMA, and you are flagging out over here. The Dow Jones is sitting on the 20 SMA. Now look, if you look at the price action in the Dow, right, you faded off the whole day. So that's what I mean. Like, you know, even though the QQQs were hanging up, the individual stocks, a lot of them were going down. If you see on the SPY, the market spiked up at the open, and then it just kind of went. So that was, you know, really kind of weak price action. And we follow the NASDAQ more than anything. But, you know, that's something to really kind of keep mind of over here, was that that's why the money was on the short side, beyond a handful of pockets of strength in stocks like XPEV and Peloton and so on and so forth. There was more action, you know, coming in on the short side. We'll have to kind of keep an eye on that. If there's going to be some long-standing kind of divergence between, you know, the different sectors or different types of stocks, if that's the case, then, you know, we may need to look at things, you know, other than just really speculative kind of tech names and kind of, you know, shoot over it. But let's take a look at the gappers. Overall, the markets are still holding up. They're all on support. So, you know, the NASDAQ even looks like it's going to break out. The SPY itself and Dow, the intraday action on it was weak, but we're still over that 20 SMA. So I think that, you know, the line in the sand for us will be, you know, how does the market, you know, react around. So we faded the gap yesterday, and it was a big fucking fade, right? Now we're gapping up into the middle of the range. So we're essentially penis in between us, right? Now what we need to see is, does this fade back off? And do we actually end up like kind of breaking under this 20 SMA? Or, you know, do we hold and kind of progress higher? That makes the action a little bit more tricky to trade if you're, you know, new, because you won't know whether you should be long or short, you know, and so you may have to wait out the open a little bit so that, you know, you can kind of figure out where the action is. For me, I've noticed, you know, the afternoon, the last couple of days has been dreadful. So my plan is to hammer this open with even maybe a little bit more gusto than normal, and we'll see kind of what happens. Let's take a look and just see if we got any good earnings plays. It looks like we're, you know, January is when earnings season really picks up. We're on the kind of tail end of things. But let's see if there's anything kind of juicy here. This looks like an acquisition. OCX. This is probably a pump and dump over here. Not really anything to kind of be mindful. You don't want to probably play one of these. This OCX company, if I remember from back in the day, this thing probably, you know, it does probably less revenue than your trading accounts. Bridgetown Holdings. So this is like another SPAC, it looks like, over here. I'm not sure what the juice is on this, but you got 1 million shares in volume. Bridgetown Holdings Limited. You know, the only thing I think TC1000 needs to do a little bit better job is kind of filling in the details on these specs, but it's really hard to figure out, like, what's what. pass for now. Hard pass for now. We'll come back to that one. Let's see if we got anything else juicy over here. This Veru, this is probably a pump and dump too, turd. I'm a ran, turd. Junk. Butt plug. Alright, so Butt Plug's got a PR out that they got some deal with Walmart. I've heard this, I've seen this PR I think before, or maybe they've just done other stuff with Walmart. But the chart is really nice. You get kind of the battery stocks that have been sitting around. Like even though most of them are turds, they've been like actually pulling back fairly orderly the last few days. You know, like this thing is probably, you know, a big giant piece of crap, but it's been like, it's not tanky, right? It's been holding up, and you got this kind of PR plug. I don't know if it's going to do anything, but you are gapping up 7% on it, and we do have kind of this old breakout spot that it's setting up on. There's a shot that this thing, you know, starts to like really push. So I would keep, I'd keep a watch on this for an ORB, or at least the first dip. Start to see how it holds. I think that thing's gonna have a chance. You know, I'd add that to the gapper list for now. It looks like it's got, it looks like it's got a little juice to it. And if that one goes, then at that point, you know, start to pull up like, you know, some of these other ones like BLDP and stuff. But I think you stick with the butt plug for now. VLDR. Okay, Analyst upgrade. Hey, so Analyst upgrades usually don't matter that much. In the last few months, though, especially on anything that's like EV, battery, so on and so forth, the upgrades have actually been working. You know, I would say maybe, was it about a month ago? You know, somebody put out, when like NIO was at like 20 or 30 bucks, somebody put out like that monster upgrade, like NIO going to like 60 or whatever. And that fucking thing trended like all day. That thing traded all day. You got like a nice kind of pullback on this. So you got a break on the chart is nice too. Like I think that one's pretty good. Not Boulder VLDR. I would add that. I would put that near top of the list. I wouldn't chase it up 6% at the open, but I would. You know, if it starts to pull to the 9 EMA or something like that, I would give that a little bit of a. I'd give that a little bit of love. And then, you know, if VLDR goes, and maybe, you know, maybe this laser will go. There's a good shot that this thing just needs a lot of time to kind of heal. You know, we'll see how the action is. But in the laser, like, you really need this thing to remount and close over the 9 for it to be. We had a couple nice squeezes on this thing yesterday. So, you know, I think we follow the same kind of plan where, you know, if it dumps and you get the rounding pattern, we could take a shot at it. Otherwise, you've got to leave it alone. BNTX on the gun. So this BNTX is gapping up 4%, but it dumped. It dumped hard into the close yesterday. Now it's gapping up like 4%. Like this is probably a rollover, you know. Yeah, this is probably I would actually keep this on watch for a little bit of a squeeze. You know, if you get this thing back into like 115, 116 where the bear flag was yesterday, you may be able to like come in and like re-roll this thing, and it'll probably fade back off. So I'd keep that on the list for now. Now there doesn't look like there's anything else special on the earnings side. Let's just see if there's anything on the downside. Oh man, how does that work? Like, how do you eat $40 and then you just go to $5? That sounds painful. That's a $4 billion thing. Let's see if we got anything here. FNMA, chung. Hey, so this snow has a lockup today. You have the old breakout spot under 318 too. I don't know how much this is going to bleed off. Like, it's pulled back quite a bit. You know, at some point it probably is more into the bounce zone. But if you really think about it, going from 400 to 300 is really only 25%. This thing doubled. You have a big level of support here at 320 and the 20 SMA, but you're breaking under it. So if you're breaking under it, I don't even know. These lockups on some of these names, you know, they're going to be intense in terms of sometimes the selling. And the reason is, like, you know, you've got this snow when it IPO'd, it was supposed to IPO at like 50, 60 bucks, right? And then, you know, they said that Warren Buffett, Phoebe Buffett's older brother, was investing. And so the day of the IPO, like, the thing just went like crazy. And so you got people that have made a lot of money on this. You know, when these lockups expire, like, shit, if I'm a shareholder of Snow, I'm selling. Right? I'm a shareholder of Snow. I'm selling. So, you know, I think you're going to get some sell pressure here. But I wouldn't be surprised if this thing came maybe down to like the 300 to 290 to catch a little squeeze on it. You are getting, I mean, the stochastics are running at a 3. I mean, that's pretty oversold. So I'm not really looking at this to necessarily short unless I saw something really picture perfect. And the reason is it's just already come down so far. Like, how much juice can you really get out of it, you know, at that point? So I don't think that that's probably a huge priority, but we'll see what's going on. So let's talk about the regular watch list. There was a good amount of runners yesterday. I think that's going to be, you know, I think there's going to be some good action today. So let's kind of go into it. XPEV had a really big close yesterday. You know, after the morning dump, it started to trend, and it really was pushing all day. I think that we do this for a day 2 play. Like, it's got the nice heat on it. Like, we're gonna be able to catch that thing. AMD is top of the list here too. You've got a nice flat top breakout on this bad boy. You got 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. This one's looking pretty damn good. I'd put that kind of number 2 on the list. Tesla, you know what? Out of all the stocks that were really moving, Tesla's been moving the best. I'd keep an eye on this one. It may need to pull back one day before it goes, but Tesla kind of defies some of these things at times. So if it dips down today, like you get a hardcore dip, you know, you come back in and give it some of the room. I think we add that and start, you know, shredding that one to the upside. Some of these solars, like SETIG, SPWR, these are nice rounding patterns. Like, I think you got to keep a couple solars on the list. I'm more leaning towards SPWR than ENPH, just due to the fact that ENPH is sitting at resistance right now. I think we go with SPWR. Guys, this Penzilla had a huge push yesterday, and then, you know, it kind of meandered around. There's a shot now that you kind of done the triple tap breakout on this. There's a shot this one just keeps going. Like, you're going to have some good day trade opportunities in this. And if it starts to go, I think this Donkey Kong's actually looking like a little bit of a swing trade. You know, you've only got resistance really down. You know, you could probably put a stop loss at like $48 on this and, you know, tuck this into an IRA and, you know, let this thing start to bust loose. It's got some catch up to make from Penn. I like the overall look of it. Chewy had an inside day yesterday. So Chewy had this big push, right? So it's got an earnings breakout. Yesterday you had an inside day. Usually after an inside day, what you'll have is like a secondary. You'll have a secondary breakout. I like that one a lot. I think, you know, that one, you know, coupled with AMD is going to be good. Penn's number 2. And then we got these 3 gappers. Look, there's a million other stocks like Lemonade and Disney and stuff that we can watch, but I think that, you know, we shred on a handful of these. I'd put RKT on the list too. You got You got nice rounding bottom on this. There's not that many stocks that are like sitting around. There's not that many stocks left that are sitting around in a base. Like this one, it's a little bit thick. So for $20 stock, you got to probably buy twice as many shares of it as you want because it just doesn't fucking move. But it is going to be, I think it's going to be a hot one. Now, this SFIX, one big push on this, and we short this thing. If we get one more push on this, guys, it's a rubber band short. We'll take this piggy down. You got, it was $35 a few days ago. So you've doubled essentially in a matter of 5-6 days. This is not a small cap company. This is a regular company. We get one more push on this. Yeah, I like that one too. What do you think? Yeah, I believe like probably. Who asked for Beaky? Yeah, Beaky to me is too rangy. I'm not a big believer in that one. PayPal. PayPal is a nice chart. It's a little bit of a slower stock in general because it's just a thicker float, but it does move pretty well. I would roll with those. I'm not a fan of shorting ISG. Chunk. I think that we focus in on these handful of names. Add in VLDR. I think we're gonna be hot to trot. So moral of the story: laser, VLDR. We've got some of these EVs like XPEV that have been cooking. Add in AMD, Tesla, Chewy, Penn, and of course we have a daily donation we've been making to fucking Airbnb. We got daily donation we've been making Airbnb. If it holds this 125, if it holds to 125, goes red to green, and then busts over 130, we take this thing on the shred. ZS, I've got an alert set on 190, brother. I got an alert set at 190. I'm not looking to kind of hit that thing till it shreds over that, but it's a good looker. It's on one of my lists. Fuck, it's so easy to have really long lists right now, isn't it? You gotta almost just start cooking and booking and cutting whatever you can. Yeah, Zoom might be something over 400, give or take. Alright. Man, it's been a good couple. It's been good trading action this year. Yeah, so just kind of be mindful. The seasonality of the next week or so can be a little bit tricky, but the market does like to ramp into Christmas. If you remember Thanksgiving week is always the best week to trade. And you're getting Christmas week will be very, very similar because the only people left are the day traders. We'll have some good shreds on it. Let's go have some fun today. Let's be good. Let's be fast. Let's make some good trades and do what we got to do. This is the list. I'm sticking to it. This is the list. I'm sticking to it. Hey, Ryan, a rubber band short is when you get a stock that's up 4, 5, 6 days in a row, usually 100% move. Stochastics over 90. Stock completely outside the upper Bollinger Band. You let it push and then go for a green to red move. You get usually a really nice kind of 1 day shredder on it. 1 or 2 day